Hey guys, I'm Phil Harris.
And I'm Ashlee Harris.
We are Shred MX Conditioning, and we provide online fitness and nutrition coaching, as well as in-person riding clinics for riders and racers from local to pro.
Now, we're racers ourselves, so we'll be talking about all things moto on this channel, from motocross, fitness and nutrition, injury, prevention and maintenance, local races, amateur nationals, pro events, current happenings in the sport, and everything in between. So whether you're on the road or in the garage, turn it up and enjoy.
This is Shred MX Shop Talk. Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 3. Thank you for those that have listened to the first episode and are joining us again. If you're new, welcome to the show. And here we are. Let's get it going.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
All right, so a couple weekends ago now, not this past weekend, but weekend before, we raced at Route 62. It was one of the Viva rounds. It was actually the second round there. The first round at Route 62 was before the banquet. We didn't make that one, but we made this one. So
yeah, it was very weird too. It was an indoor. Not indoor. It was an indoor day race. That's what I was trying to get at. Saturday and Sunday, so it was more like an outdoor schedule. Early in the morning, sign up, practice. It was cool though, because then we kind of got done earlier in the day and had time to head home, get some dinner, and all that. So that kind of it was different, but nice at the same time.
yeah, and I wasn't sure how I was going to like that being a day race, because I like the vibes of the indoor night races for sure, but it was nice because it was different. It was at a different track, so kind of just had its own thing going on, and I liked it. Aside from, it's an hour and a half down there for us, and we can't take Zuki. Zuki's our dog, because she barks at the dirt bikes. While with indoor pits, I'm not trying to have her in there barking at everyone on their dirt bikes. So we left her at home, so we just drove down and back both days, which meant 4:30 a.m. wake up time, making some breakfast sandwiches to eat on the road, and just heading out the door as quickly as we could.
Yeah, dragging myself out of bed because I'm not a morning person.
Yeah, but we made it.
Yeah, we made it. We made it happen.
Yeah.
So we had fun. Unfortunately, it was a little thin for the weekend, but all in all, it was a good time.
Yeah, you raced your 250 again in both A classes, and not a lot of competition showed up, but you still had a good time.
Yeah, I had one guy on Saturday, and I was the lone soldier in pro class on Sunday. In the one class, one kid got hurt in his other moto, so I ended up being the only one out there.
Yeah, it was the Phil show on Sunday in the A class.
Yeah, they gave me a sweet 2 laps.
Yeah, and I said throw fat whips and pull wheelies.
Yeah, it was a good time though. The track was really nice. Thanks to Jimmy for all that. He puts on a good show over there, even though it was thin. It's not a reflection of the work that he puts in there, because he always gives everyone a killer track, indoor and outdoor. So if you guys haven't been down to Route 62 and have, considered it and questioned it and stuff, get down there, check it out. It's fun, and he's a great dude. If you see him running around, try to say hey. He'll talk to you for a few minutes, and then he's probably gonna be off and running to whatever he's doing next. The dude never stops.
Yeah, that's for sure. It was also cool. One of our friends, local guy from around here too, riders, Kevin Ott, was doing the announcing, and he made it a point to interview both of us at one point in time. Again, there wasn't a lot of people there, but it's kind of fun as a rider to get to do that, even in a smaller audience. Obviously, it's good practice. I don't know, maybe one day we'll get to do big ones. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. It was cool seeing Kevin doing that, though. It was, I think it was really fitting for him, and I hope he gets to do more. It does look like I think he's doing some of the outdoor stuff, actually, I've seen, so that'll be exciting.
Oh, I didn't know that. That will be exciting.
Yeah.
Good for him, too.
Yeah.
Now, one thing we got to talk about. I made my plus 30 debut, and I got taken out.
Yeah, you sure did.
Yeah, and I was mad. I shared a video of it. If some of you saw it, cool. If not, it was like a tight corner. Dude was on the inside and I was on the outside. There was a decent berm, but it wasn't like a bowled out berm. You had to I was brake sliding a little bit and shooting down. Well, I saw the guy. It was right after whoop section, right hand corner. I kind of saw him on the inside of me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut down out of this corner, and I'll cut up the inside of him. Well, he, of course, pushed out because he took the inside of the corner. That's kind of the only way to go. But I don't know if I just anticipated him getting through the corner faster, or and it was truly just a racing incident, but the video makes it look pretty bad. We got into the side of each other and dude just kept pushing me further and further out until I was in the other lane, rode up the landing of the tabletop and basically fell over because he just pushed me that far wide.
Yeah, you were heated too.
Yeah, well, I didn't quite, I mean, in the moment, I didn't, I couldn't see what happened. I was just like this.
Yeah, it's different once you get to see video of it and stuff. Maybe it was a little different than I thought it was when I was on track.
Yeah,
but it is hard when you're racing, you're in the heat of the moment, and then next thing you know, you're laying on the ground. You're like, what the heck? What was that for?
Right. We definitely got tangled together. His bar end got stuck up in my arm, and I had this gnarly it didn't really bruise, but it was almost like a goose egg on my bicep. It was all swollen. And hurt pretty bad, but I thought he just pushed out and didn't want to give me any room on the track. So of course I was mad. And then he came over a little bit later this happened on Saturday. So the first day we were racing, he came over a little bit later and he was starting to try to apologize. And I was just so frustrated because I forgot I had got a really good start in that moto. I was killing it.
You got a good jump.
Yeah, I got a good jump. Was running up front with some of the guys that run at the top of the class. Now, granted, I was getting past here and there, but it was one of the fuller gates of the day.
Yeah.
And I had a good start, and that happened. And poor guy came over and tried to apologize, and I was like, "Hey, thanks, I appreciate it, but I don't have anything nice to say to you right now." And he turned around and walked away. And it was probably better for the both of us. So I didn't say something that I was gonna regret later on. But yeah, he did try to be nice. And again, watching the video, I honestly think he got a little bit squirrely and kind of we just came together. It just happened.
Yeah, I mean, where you were exiting a berm and where he was going, your guys' lines just met, and then I think you guys got hooked together, so.
Yeah, and then before that, so before I actually got taken out, again, I had a good start. This dude was coming around me to pass me before the finish line triple, and he took the high part of the berm. It's a right-hand corner before this triple. He went high on the berm, and I cut down just a little bit, still anticipating jumping the triple. I'm like, I have enough drive. I'm solid. Well, this dude comes around the berm on my left side and hits the triple and jumps from the left side of it to the right. And I'm already committed to hitting the triple. So I shut down, lob up on top of it, because it's kind of like a flat tabletop up there, but it sucks to land up there.
Yeah,
but
you land like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, but I had to jump from my anticipated line of going straight over the triple, shut down, bail off to the right. I was pretty close to jumping off the side of it, but I didn't. It was chaos.
I was worried for a second you were going off the side of it.
Yeah, it was scary.
Yeah, so, it looked kind of scary from the back.
So that happened, and then I got taken out. And then, we talked a good bit about that, like how different indoor riding is from outdoors. Like outdoors, there's plenty of room. I can pick a different line on a totally opposite side of the track and get around people really clean, or they can get around me really clean. Indoors, you kind of have to force passes.
Yeah, ends up being very single file, so you kind of have to go inside and force a pass most times. Obviously, it doesn't always end pretty.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not it can be clean, but yeah, it's harder indoors for sure because there's a lot less room, and it is a lot more single file, one line racing.
And I've watched you do that in the pro class, and I love a good battle. I know I'm sure if it happens to you, you'd get heated too. If someone were to take you out like that, but the way you guys can slice in and out of each other and get real close and still mainly be respectful of each other is so cool to watch. But when I'm out there and it's happening to me and the dudes that are trying to do it are a little bit squirrely, it's scary.
Yeah, understandable.
The control level just isn't there.
No, it's a little lower.
Yeah.
So a little less unsure where the other people are going.
I think that's the biggest problem I have. And bumping up to the 30 class, you know, I was racing 20 plus 25 in women's or women's in 250B. So like I'm used to racing around dudes, but like I always think like, man, the older I get, like the class might be a little bit calmer. We're all older. We all got to go to work on Monday, but it's all still like it's the same people aging along with me. So yeah, there might be some new dudes in the class that I haven't raced with in a while, but
it's hard too, I feel like, as you get into the older age groups, like nothing against any of the guys that are out there racing those older classes, but I feel like you get some of the guys that quit racing for a little while and then they've decided, hey, 10 years later, you know, or whatever it may be, like I'm going to come back to racing, and now I'm plus 30 or whatever. So that makes it tough too. But I guess it's good, you know, you have people to race with. But yeah, it does make it very wide range of what your skill level is on the gate.
well, and that's how the women's class is. So luckily, I'm used to it. There was a girl out there last weekend. Someone asked me, "Oh, why was there a mini bike on the gate?" She was on a 110. She's just trying to learn. It's because we get one class, and I mean, it's the same. If you're a 30 plus rider, you're going to ride your skill class and your plus 30 class. So yeah, you get a wide range, and I definitely agree. People, you know, trying to jump back into the sport, and their mind thinks that, you know, they still have the same speed they did when they were racing and they were younger, but their body's not quite with it yet. So
No, you still know how to go fast, but your body isn't keeping up with trying to go that fast.
yeah. So that happened. That was literally the most exciting race of all of Saturday.
Yeah, it probably was.
Except, was your whoops to stoppie on Saturday too?
Yeah, it was the very first heat race.
Yeah, so I'm watching Phil with the one other guy that was out there. There was a B rider in there too, so technically two other guys, but one other guy in the A class. He's coming through the whoops good, and it's a shorter whoop section, but clip the you said did you miss one? Your front tire missed one?
No, I like wheelied into them weird, and there was like only like 5 of them, but I got into that like kind of like I call like teeter-tottering, and as I come out of the last one and I went to get on the brakes because the corner's immediately after them, it kind of bucked me up forward onto the front wheel, and then all I had was front brakes, so it threw me into like a stoppie, and then luckily it kind of, as I caught the berm, it put me down, but I had so much forward momentum that there was no way to like turn. I just kind of was gonna go through the hay bales, and luckily they just like parted, the two like parted like perfectly, and I rode right through them and turned down, like went down the backside of the berm, turned right, and went down the start straight.
Yeah. Basically, he rode a stoppie up the berm, straight up the berm, and then, yeah, down the backside, just kind of rolled through it. And I was like, well,
It probably looked sweet, but I didn't intentionally do it.
It looked sweet after you saved it. I was a little bit concerned for your safety for a moment.
Yeah, I thought I was going down. I'm like, oh, perfect last lap, too.
Yeah. And that just reminds me of something that you and I talk about all the time. You were out there by yourself, basically. Pro riders, it's not that they don't make mistakes, it's that they know how to correct for them. You don't get tense, you don't get weirded out by it. You're just like trying to ride it out. Like, mistakes happen. Stuff like that happens to everyone. Me, if something like that happened, I'd probably end up grabbing the front brake more because I was panicking and pile drive myself into the berm. But you're just like riding that nose wheelie up through there, like ride it back down, like, oh, no problem, and then put it behind you.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is like when you do save stuff, you got to put it behind you as quickly as possible and just move forward.
Yeah, don't let it affect you and affect your next laps, because then it compounds and it gets worse.
Yeah, I used to struggle with that big time when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I would make a mistake, and then get stuck kind of thinking about that mistake and then make another 2 or 3 mistakes, and I just start going backwards and make more mistakes. And
I think that's a lot of people, honestly. Learning how not to do that or not allowing yourself to do that is truly something that takes time and a lot of riding that only really a vet rider is going to have. Or maybe some of the top level pros because they do get to ride so much, but you got to have some time in the sport to be able to work through those emotions when you're riding.
yeah, but even some of the like, even I would call it like some of the newer kids, they have, even though they're young, they have that knowledge because of guys like myself, or like guys that are ex pros that they've been around that are teaching them stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. That's a good point to make for sure. Stressing that.
Yeah.
Now that's why you are busting your hump to get through your USMCA certification so that way you can keep passing on the knowledge and coaching too.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're very close to finishing that up, and we'll have all that done, and we'll be all certified. And yeah, keep passing on knowledge that I have, and we'll keep building this sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing that we've talked about here recently, mainly right now, I'm doing the fitness and nutrition coaching online for our athletes. But we've even talked about, within the past couple weeks, how you spent a bit of time in college studying for physical therapy. And you didn't finish just because of your racing and everything, but that's something that interests you. And that's not that I do physical therapy, but I do the fitness and the nutrition side. And a big piece of my focus is corrective exercise, working through old injuries, making sure they feel good, all of that. So something we've talked about recently, which I'm also very excited about, is you working towards those certifications as well. The personal training, the corrective exercise. That way you can jump in and help on the personal, like the fitness side of things and the fitness coaching as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take me a little time to get there, but yeah, we're gonna start plugging away, and I guess we'll say get back at it. Cause yeah, when I did do college, I kind of went for some fitness and nutrition, and then I was also going to do PT. I wanted to give back to the sport, kind of what we're building and trying to do now for everyone is give back. I wanted to do that even at a young age. So it's cool. Like, yeah, I fell off of it when I was younger and was more focused on racing and took that path. And it's cool that all these years later, it's kind of coming around full circle again, that I'm kind of getting to do this stuff side by side with you, that I started years ago studying and learning about and had interest in. So here we are doing it again. So
Yeah.
should be fun.
And I think the fact that we're both so passionate about it and that we've both been in the sport for so long and just giving back and helping people, like when I work with someone even for a month and they realize how much better they can feel, how much of a difference what I'm helping them with or teaching them, what a difference it can make in their life. It's so empowering and motivating to keep going. Like there's plenty of tough days, so it's never easy, and just like when you jump into that side of the coaching too, it's not going to be easy. Like building a business isn't easy, but I know between the two of us what we're doing is exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%.
Be fun to see where that all goes.
Yeah.
Now, one other thing, I shouldn't say one other thing, we'll talk about multiple other things, but another vehicle issue, okay? So the last time we talked about the window got broke out of your truck, the trailer fell off of my truck when we were trying to go. Cool. Okay, well, that's all been fine. Friday, this past weekend, we were coming home and we needed to stop and get a gallon of milk. And I'm driving down a back road to go to a Dollar General in my truck. So we're in my truck now. Now, mind you, I drive a 2010 Ram 1500. She's got 160,000 miles on it. We've had it since 2016 when we bought it in Florida. We were living in Florida at the time with 36,000 miles on it. 36? 32? Right around there.
I don't know, somewhere in the 30s.
So we've put miles on this truck. It's been back and forth from Florida to Ohio, all over the place. We've taken it, that was our primary truck, our primary dirt bike hauler for a while. But, you know, it was Phil's truck, now it's my truck. Anyways, she's got some dings and dents on her, but so we're driving, going to get milk. And I'm like on this back road, and it's kind of dark, but there's parking lots and there's lights, whatever. And there's a vehicle coming up from a side street. And I'm like, man, like, you know how when you're like coming up to a side street like that and it doesn't quite look like they're gonna slow down enough to actually stop, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and it always looks like that too when it's a little bit dark.
Right, so that's kind of what I thought. So I kind of like put my foot on the brake a little bit, and I was like, no, she looks like she's slowing. This person looks like they're slowing. Like, we're probably good, right? So I keep going, and granted, it's like a 35-mile-an-hour back road, so I probably slowed down to like 25. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm like starting to get up to the point where I'm passing this road that this person was, I think, stopping on. And the next thing I know, I hear Phil like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I like glance out my side, and this lady pulled into the road going the same direction as me into the front side of my truck and hits me. Now, thank God I was paying attention and had already slowed down because I didn't think she was stopping. I swerved off the road, but she still hit the side of me, like the front quarter panel of my truck. And I'm just like in shock. Like, what the hell just happened? Like, I thought this person was stopping. Like, you had to have seen me. My truck is bright red, and it's like there's lights out. It's not like it's pitch black outside. So anyways, we were very close to the Dollar General that we were getting milk from. So we all pulled in the parking lot or whatever, and we're like looking at the damage. It really wasn't that bad because it was low impact and because I swerved, or low speeds. She didn't hit me that hard, but enough to like shove me off the road a little bit. But I get out, and then you notice that like where she hit me, it dented in my front quarter panel.
Yeah, just a little bit though. I mean, it's like, I wouldn't even say it's like barely even dented in.
Yeah, barely. And there's a couple scuffs, but it was enough that it like...
It pushed it back just a teeny bit so the door like would rub.
Yeah. Okay, so my truck has some scratches, a little bit of damage, nothing major. So I'm like, okay, it's Friday night. I'm like, I don't really feel like calling the police. So I say something to the lady. I'm like, there's a little bit of damage on my truck. I was like, do you want to just throw me like, you know, $100 or something, like to fix the paint at least, like so it doesn't rust? And she's on the phone with her husband, and she's like, he's saying if you want money, we should really go through insurance. And I'm like, you're probably right. Like that's the official way to do it. But I was just trying to save us all some time. So, okay, well, whatever. I call the police department, and they send someone out. And of course, we're in some weird middle area that's no one's jurisdiction. So an hour later, a statey shows up. And of course, I mean, he was kind to us, but he was not kind to her. So I was like, man, you should have just taken the offer to give me $100 to fix my damn paint. We would have been on our way.
Yep, she could have got it off easy, but she didn't choose that.
Yeah, I tried to be nice, but it happens. I get it. So, anyways, just we've been having some rough luck with our vehicles.
I'm just glad that she was slowed down and she didn't just come out and T-bone us.
I know that would have been scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to be thankful for that.
Yeah.
Still, my poor truck's been a little beat on.
It has been a little bit beat up, but she's still rolling.
Yeah, she is. But so, anyways, getting that figured out. That happened Friday night. Saturday, we actually got to ride outside in Ohio in February. It was beautiful.
It has been nice. Kind of weirdly nice out. But yeah, we got to ride outside, so that was awesome.
And usually, like, if we have, like, it's happened before where we've had, like, a random day, like, early in the year that we can ride, but it's usually at least a little bit muddy. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I would say so. Usually you get that kind of, it looks like a nice top layer, but you start riding it and then it's like, it's kind of muddy. Or you try to till it up and then it's like really muddy underneath. But luckily, we didn't really have that. We had pretty prime conditions. Most of it was like really tacky, and then some of the other sections were like on the verge of dry.
Yeah.
Which was pretty wild.
But it was prime. Like, it was a private track, private invite. So thanks to you for inviting us out. You know who you are. We appreciate the hell out of that. But for sure had a good time, and like just opening up, you know. I think it's cool that there are people out there that have tracks that are on their own land that they'll like, I mean, obviously we're friends, like we get invited, but it's cool that they open up, their track and let some extra people come in sometimes.
Yeah, it is nice when that happens. We had a good little group. I think there was like 10 or so of
Yeah.
us, so it was fun. We had a good time, and like we said, the track shaped up super nice. And man, what a beautiful day we had too. The sun was shining. We had a little bit of overcast. It was a little chilly at times with the breeze, but overall, for like we said, a February day in Ohio, riding dirt bikes outside, can't complain about that at all.
No. Now, I did want to bring up though, you rode the 450.
Yeah.
So, and then you raced the 250 the weekend before, and then any more indoors that we do, you're going to race the 250 or ride the 250. So, I know like some people would struggle going back and forth between the two. So, is there ever like a time when you bump from one bike to the other that you have to like remind yourself what bike you're on? Like, what is that mentally like for you?
Um, I think it's tougher. I wouldn't say it. So like I've been riding it indoors, like the 250 indoors, and then we rode outdoors. So I rode the 450. So like that's not such an adjustment, but when I ride them the same day or like same style track, that's a little bit of an adjustment. Um, Whether it be like indoors, like on the 450, I have to be a lot more mellower because otherwise I'll be like overshooting everything. And then outdoors, like it's kind of reverse. Like I can ride the 450 a little harder, and then it's like if I ride the 250 outside now, it's like you really got to ride the crap out of that thing. So, um, I used to have a hard time though when I was younger adjusting to going like back and forth between the two different like power deliveries, and you kind of got to ride each bike in its own way. Um, I think it's easier because I kind of like understand that, and I guess you say like in the back of my mind, like when I get on that bike, it's like I already kind of understand that, like okay, I have to ride this one different, and then as soon as I touch a track, then it's like I'm already prepared to do that. Sometimes it's not always that way though. Sometimes it's like a couple laps, like, oh yeah, I gotta ride this one a little differently. So there's can be an adjustment period sometimes.
Now, is there one over the other, aside from like saying like, well, I like this one indoors and I like this one outdoors, is there one over the other that is like you would ultimately choose as your favorite, 250 or 450?
Um, I would say ultimately 450, just because like if like if I only had one bike, and I had to choose between either one, yeah, I would say 450 just because like all around that's what I would rather ride. I've been on 450 since I was like 16, so I'm like really used to the bigger bike and the power and everything. So, and I like that style of riding. Like I do enjoy riding the 250 at times, and especially indoors, like you were saying. But outdoors, like I don't always like that riding it on the ragged edge. I'm not always that style of rider. I like to be a lot smoother and flowy and more fluid with it. So I feel like the 450 power for me personally, it lends to that a little more.
Now, I think you bumping to a 450 at 16, personally, I think that's super young. Like, I wouldn't recommend like a kid now. I guess it depends on the situation, it depends on the riding level. But most 16-year-olds, I would say, have no business being on a 450. What are like, how do you feel? Not your situation, because like, all right, tell us about your situation too. But what would you say about like 16-year-olds now? Do you think a 450 is a good bike for them?
No, not necessarily. I think it's different now too. So my situation when we were coming up, when we all moved to big bikes, we moved to big bikes on 125. So at that, 125s, anyone that has rode them or rides them, they understand that you have to be very on the pipe, like screaming a 125 to keep it rolling, keep it going fast. So we kind of all moved to four strokes in the middle of that on big bikes. So we all kind of rode four strokes that way a little too much. And a lot of us had motor issues with them at first, until we kind of learned to ride them a little better, but it still took a lot of time. So I just found like that because we rode them a little more that way. That's why I got onto the bigger bike and I enjoyed it more because I had the power and I didn't have to like, I didn't feel like I had to scream it so much to make power. But nowadays, no, I feel like, especially with the the newer bikes with fuel injection and everything, these 250Fs are so much faster than the bikes we had too. Like, man, if you pulled out a 2002 or 2003 250F now, it'd probably be a dinosaur out on the track. So, no, I feel like nowadays, like, give yourself, like, especially kids getting onto big bikes, I would say, 2-3 seasons of 250Fs, then yeah, maybe start flirting with the idea of a 450, especially if you're really hammering on the 250. If you're still not using a ton of the power, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's in everyone's situation, but I wouldn't say to jump right up.
Well, and that's kind of like for me. I'm 30 years old, still riding a 250F, and I've I'm small, and I always joke and say that I'm the size of a 13-year-old boy, but basically I am. I'm 5', almost 5'3" and like 3/4 of an inch, and 130 pounds. So basically the size of a 13-year-old boy, maybe 14. And I've rode your 450 and I enjoy it, but like for someone like myself, like I'm not riding my 250 to its full potential. So I don't really need a 450. Granted, when we go to like super sandy tracks and I like just the ease of having the power, yeah, it's great. But there's some people that, like we ride with that they have 450s and I'll be riding with, and the way that they can come out of a corner and just crack on the throttle and get over bigger jumps, like, yeah, that's cool, but I have to carry momentum to hit those jumps, which means I'm going faster. So like to me, I need to continue to work on riding the 250 like it needs to be rode and utilize that power. Again, it keeps me carrying more momentum. What I'm getting at is it doesn't let me be lazy.
Yeah.
Because some people, and that's okay, like some people too, and it's a big thing with vet riders, like they enjoy the 450 power because they don't have to work as hard, and that lets them still enjoy the sport. Like, all for that, do your thing. But I'm still trying to progress as much as I can, so like I'm still learning to ride the 250 like it's supposed to be rode.
Are you calling me out? That's why I ride the 450, because I'm lazy. Because I'm a
Definitely.
vet rider.
Definitely. You're showing your age talking about 250S from '02.
Yeah, I kind of am.
I would have been 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, Phil over here, I was 18 when we got together. What were you, like 24?
Something like that.
He was robbing the cradle. But anyway, that's a story for another day. Yeah, so anyways, a little bit of, one other thing too, that I feel like people kind of get stuck on now, and I talked to a girl about this recently. She's getting too big. I can't remember if she had an 85 or a 150. But anyway, she was talking about getting a bigger bike, and I agreed. Her legs are long. Like her knees, where she's trying to grip the bike, her knees were above the seat. So I'm like you don't have anything. You're too tall for that bike, for the mini bike. Anyways, I think a lot of people now try to skip the 125 stage, and I don't like that.
Yeah, a lot of people just go straight to 250Fs anymore.
I think there's a lot of skills to be learned on a 125 that when you skip that, I mean, it's so much easier of a transition to go, let's say from even a super mini to a 125, because now your power delivery is still similar, but you got the bigger wheels. So you're just adjusting to the bigger frame, the bigger wheels, the different, a little bit more weight of a bike, instead of trying to change how the power is delivered and the weight of the bike and the bigger wheels, like all of it at once. Like, I just think a 125 is a better stepping stone.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, especially with certain rider levels. it's tough, like some of the faster kids that are coming up nowadays, just because the super minis are, I would say, are probably on par with the 125s as far as power to like weight and wheel ratio and all that. So it's kind of tough because it's like, yeah, you're going to put them on like a slightly bigger wheel than the super mini, but with probably almost the same power. So now they've already rode a bunch of seasons on that same power delivery.
Right. So then maybe that's not such a big deal.
But I would say like, yeah, some kids, especially if they don't do like the super mini level, like I would say, like if you go like 80 and then 125, then 250F, that would be a good transition.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that's probably the best. And then like you said, for the super mini, it might make more sense to do like 250F option.
Yeah. I still wish like most of the manufacturers made their two strokes, like 125s and even 252 strokes. Like for some of us older guys, I would love to have the 252 stroke still in the garage from a certain brands, but even yeah, for like the kids too, because like then they'd have all the options instead of a couple.
Right. Yeah. One of them's kind of, I mean, I think they put a little bit of R&D into them, but they're still pretty, this Yamaha especially is still pretty much the same bike, isn't it?
Yeah, they haven't done hardly anything to it.
Or you could get a KTM, they're just expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so got a little off topic there, but back to our riding day on Saturday. I have to call you out on this.
What?
You were riding around behind me and I hit you with a rock in the shoulder. And you would have thought this man was like injured. I pulled up next to him after I was like, he was riding behind me. He was like towards the end of our riding.
Just throwing stuff at me.
Yeah. And he's like ripping around with me, which is super cool. It helps me push. It kind of lets him see how I'm riding. And then I ask him like, hey, how am I riding? Cool. I super appreciate when he does that. Well, we're ripping around and then he gets done and I do a few more laps and then I get done and pull up next to him and I'm talking to him and he's holding his shoulder and he's like, you trashed my shoulder. Like, I thought I injured him. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, you hit me with a rock, you roosted me. And I'm like giggling because I'm like, we get roosted with rocks all the time. He's like, no, like you nailed me in the shoulder, like in the nerve. I had like dead arm as soon as you hit me. So that made me giggle. You're fine now, but it did make me giggle.
Yeah. The worst part was I didn't even see it coming. Usually you see them, but never even seen it.
Yeah, my bad. You're okay though.
Yeah.
You're all right.
I survived.
I did feel super good. So he's got quite a few jumps out there. I felt for like being our first ride outdoors, although we've rode so much already this year, it didn't feel weird. But it was like for being our first ride outdoors, he's got some decent sized jumps out there and I was hitting most everything and I felt super aggressive. I felt really good.
Yeah, you looked really good.
Thanks. It's nice to be confident like the first ride outdoors. So that's a lot of progress for me, especially jump wise. Like it's taken me a long time to build confidence on jumps.
I think that's a big part of just the consistent seat time that we've had.
Yeah. And to working instead of just riding, like consistent seat time is good, but I'm not just riding. I'm trying to make progress. I'm pushing myself. Like mentally trying to improve has helped me a ton as well.
Yeah.
Because I can kind of fall into I'm just happy that I'm riding my dirt bike, and you can kind of fall into I'm frustrated I'm not going fast enough, and we really have to balance each other out with that.
Yeah, it's a struggle some days, but
like, I need more aggression and you need more happy.
Yeah.
We figure that out though.
It's a fun balance some days.
It is. It's hard, but we do it. It's fine.
It's life.
Yeah, that's for sure. One other thing, you said that you told me you dabbed your knee a little bit.
Yeah, I caught it a little bit over the weekend.
Now,
it was a little bit ruddy and some of the ruts were a little bit weird.
And you don't have, I mean, obviously, I think most people know at this point in time, but you don't have either ACL.
No, I for sure don't have the one. The other side was fixed when I was like younger because I had tore it. But I think since I know I had stretched it, but I've probably since like tore it over the years.
Now, when you tore, it's your right knee that you tore recently?
Yeah, in 21.
Yeah, when you tore that, I remember the doctor, our orthopedic guy, said that, well, because we didn't want to fix it right then. You were like working, you had a very physical job working out at a cemetery, and it like wasn't obviously convenient to go have surgery to fix it. And he's like, oh, well, you can walk, but you'll never ride until you fix it.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah,
But I'm too stubborn to let that happen.
right. And I always have a hard time, like when people tear ACLs, most people go quickly and have them fixed. And I'm not saying like that's right or wrong, but when we ride as much as we do and racing as much as we do, ACLs are like so easy to tear. So I had like when that injury happened to you, it's almost like, well, if we can rehab it without fixing it, why don't we try to do that? Because that way, so you have surgery, you have it fixed, now you have to worry about re-injuring it,
Right.
like your other knee.
Yeah.
So why not try if you can push through it and not have it fixed? Like some people can. Some people are totally okay with it, and some people totally can't walk. Obviously, you got to walk. It took you a little bit to be able to walk stably. Is that a word? With stability.
Yeah, with stability.
To walk with stability. But we worked on that, right? Like you started getting back into a workout routine, and now even more recently, like we do a lot of corrective exercise for you and all of your old injuries, everything you got going on. And it literally does make the biggest difference. Like usually if you would dab your leg like that and tweak your knee, it'd be swollen and it would take you several days to stop limping.
Oh, yeah. I thought for sure after we got done with day riding that when I took my stuff off, I'd have a swollen knee or it would swell up later. It never really did. I mean, maybe a tiny bit, but it wasn't like really noticeable and it didn't get like that tight on me or anything. Usually it would swell up and then I have a few days of getting the swelling out of it and getting it to bend, most of the range of motion and stuff back and everything. But yeah, I didn't really, didn't seem to end up with that this time. A little tiny bit of soreness, but that's just probably from catching it and tweaking it a little bit. But yeah, I have so much strength in it now. I feel like I don't deal with as much of the issues. And I mean, we're not saying, guys, that's listening that, don't go get your ACL fixed. Like if you tear one and you feel strongly about getting fixed, go get it fixed. But
Absolutely.
I will also say, because I had one fixed when I was younger, don't think that just because you got it fixed and you do your little bit of, PT or whatever they have you do, and then, oh, hey, you're all good, go back to riding. I would strongly recommend, on top of all that, to get as much strength in your muscles again, because I know, like I said, because I went through it. You lose all your muscle in your legs, like
Absolutely.
hardcore from the surgery and being off of it and everything. So put as much strength around it too if you get it fixed, or if you don't get it fixed, same thing. As much strength as you can put around that knee, it's only gonna help keep it stabilized while you're riding, on top of knee pads, knee braces, whatever you may wear.
That's a fun conversation to have.
Oh yeah, that's a good debate right there.
So, what do you wear?
Oh, knee braces.
I wear knee braces too.
Yeah,
And
I've needed knee braces
Yeah.
for a long time.
I'm a firm believer in them too, so much so that I think I was 14 or 15, racing at Malvern, and for some reason, this was in the period I was trying to decide if I wanted knee braces, I think, and I had to buy them myself. I was going to school, working, and I was like, man, like, do I want knee braces? They're expensive when you're working a part-time job after school. So I'm like, anyways, I think I borrowed my dad's knee braces, maybe, to wear them at Malvern. And I wrecked, and for one, I got a concussion for sure. But I kept saying, man, it's a good thing I had those knee braces on, because the way I fell, like the knee brace bruised my legs, so I knew like it yanked my legs around. But I continue to say, it's a good thing I had those knee braces on. And then 3 minutes later, it's a good thing I had those knee braces on.
Oh my God, you definitely got
Yeah.
concussion.
Totally firm believer, though, since that moment, that it's a good thing I wear knee braces. Now, and I can say too, and this is actually a conversation I enjoy having with people, knee braces versus knee pads, and I'm all for wear what you're comfortable with, because being comfortable is extremely important to how you ride. If you're clunky and you can't feel, like if you're someone that says, I don't like knee braces because I can't feel the bike, that's going to hinder your riding. I get that. But I am someone that broke my femur because of my knee brace. It didn't bend, it saved my knee and instead broke my femur. So, and people say, like, that's one of the issues with knee braces. Oh my God. Okay, well, my femur is healed. There's a rod in there and there's some screws in either end, but my femur is healed, and I, knock on wood, do not have knee problems. Now, tell me about your knee problems. I mean, now they're better because you've spent so much time strengthening them, but my point is, a bone heals, ligaments and tendons, that's a whole different journey.
Yeah, it's tough. I obviously didn't want to blow out my other one, but here we are. It happened.
Yeah, it does. And that it just goes, again, to say that knee braces aren't going to protect against everything.
No, I mean, I've done both of mine in knee braces.
Right.
So it doesn't protect it. And I even believe that if I had, knee pads on in the same situations, I would have probably still tore it, if not tore a whole lot of other stuff.
That's what I would think for sure. Because even if even if it didn't protect that ACL, I'm sure there was other things in there it protected.
Yeah. The second one I did, just a couple of years ago, in my right knee, I think, regardless of what I was wearing, I think it would have been about the same outcome. But my first one, I buckled my leg back underneath me pretty bad in a corner. I caught it and sucked it underneath me and up under the bike and everything. And yeah, I think if I would have not had knee braces on, it would have been pretty bad. Also, my knee braces I had on at that time when I was younger were pretty beat because I rode so much.
Yeah, that's about, and we were just talking about this, that's about where we're both at now. It's time to get new knee braces. That's something, they are expensive, so you want to wear them as long as possible, but they do need replaced.
Yeah. Replaced, I mean, you can rebuild them up and stuff, get new parts for them, and a lot of the companies nowadays offer fresh parts. You can kind of freshen them up, and that way you can make them new again, or if you can afford to, it's nice to always get a fresh pair.
Yeah, a fresh set. We've been in Mobius for a while. I think we're going to try the pods next.
Yeah, try out something. We had them before, but
pods are actually what I broke. So this is a funny story. Pods are what I broke my femur in, and it cracked the carbon fiber. And
I remember that.
I called Pod or emailed them or something.
Me about that anyways.
Yeah, and told them that the carbon fiber was cracked because I broke my femur in them. They wanted me to send it back so they could research it, and they sent me a new one. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah, so
all the research that they do for those things, it's pretty wild, but it's cool because they're trying to help us riders stay safe out there.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people that talk about, I think they're the TP199. It's like a knee pad, but it's got some support in it.
Yeah, something like that. I think it has an inner knee sleeve or something.
Yeah, and like I said, all of those, whatever you are most comfortable in, personally, Phil and I both, knee braces. Anyone that is close to us pretty much wears knee braces. But again, it's just kind of like the neck brace conversation, and that's something else for a whole different podcast. But you got to wear what you feel is going to help you in the best way possible when you're riding your dirt bike.
Yeah, you want to be comfortable, but you don't want to also take that comfort to such an extent that you're going to be unsafe.
Yeah.
Not if you crash, it's when you crash, because we all know, especially riding dirt bikes, it's inevitable. You're going to hit the deck at some point.
Yeah. Now, speaking of that, though, I can't understand why people are so quick to want to spend money on protective equipment. You know, obviously helmets are a must, good helmets, but between the neck braces and the elbow pads and geez, sometimes you see those little kids in like the full body armor. I'm like, that kid can't even move. Like,
Yeah, there's an extent where you can get overboard now. Like, it's almost the other way. Like, you think you have so much on your kid that he's extra safe. There's no way he can get hurt, but the problem is now he can't move at all. So more than likely, he's probably gonna crash more.
because he can't even like correct anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, whether you're overprotected or what I was getting at was just spending money on all of this gear you can strap on versus putting in some work off the bike to actually bulletproof your body, to help prevent injury, to make you feel better when you're riding. And all I'm talking about here is exercise. Some mobility work, you know, like making sure we're strong. When you lift heavy things, your bones start to adapt. It actually helps your bones get stronger, not just your muscles. Like your skeletal system is like, okay, we're used to picking up these heavy loads. We got to beef up a little bit or we're not going to be able to last. Like your body is so smart in the way it adapts. And I mean, I get it. You know, you can spend money on something and it's there and you strap it on and then when you're done wearing it, you take it off. Cool. Whereas exercise takes daily effort, and I know that's a sticking point for people because we're all limited on time. And every other excuse in the book, I've heard it all, but like there is nothing equipment-wise that you can buy that is going to keep you as safe as just putting in a little effort into your body through exercise would.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, exercise goes a long ways, especially with racing.
And even just feeling good. I mean, you talked to me. You've raced for a long time. You rode a lot. You've had a lot of injuries. I've been there to see some of them. But you've talked to me too about how like before we really started into the corrective exercise piece, how you would wake up in pain.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with my back and my neck, especially, and everything just being super tight from injuring them when I was younger. And I just always wake up like super balled up, tight. Uh, Felt like someone was like yanking my shoulders back, and I get crazy headaches sometimes. And yeah, I was feeling rough all the time. Some days I didn't want to get up out of bed because as soon as I opened my eyes, I already felt rough.
Yeah, and I mean, Moto is abusive on the body. We all know that. So it causes muscle imbalances, it causes overuse injuries, it causes tightness in here and weakness over here. That's stuff that if you don't address it only compounds and gets worse. And then, because your whole body is connected, it starts affecting other areas.
Oh yeah, definitely does.
Now, I got to ask you, because you do put in the work. I write the program for you. But you put in the work. I can't do that for you. Do you enjoy every morning at 4:30 in the morning when we get up and you got to go down there and put your work in?
No, I definitely don't enjoy the days that I have to go down there at 4:30 in the morning and get it done before work. Some days are a huge mental battle for me to go down and do it. And there's been plenty of days in the past that I didn't get it done, but the more and more I've worked at it, the more I've got to where even those days that I wake up and I'm like, I really, really don't want to do this morning. I'm saying that the whole time I'm walking downstairs to go do it. I don't want to do this. I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to do this. And then I get downstairs and then I just start my warm up, and then next thing I know, I got my workout in for the morning and I did it. And then I feel good that I did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a work in progress, but
And it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about getting it done more times than not. So the days that you don't really aren't that big of a deal as long as most of the time you're like sucking it up and getting it done.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be those those random days that you are just like, today is just not the day.
Yeah.
Or just nope, it's just not happening.
Right.
And you just, if anything, that if you have one of those days, try to just throw in a stretch, even if it's right before bed, or something. Just get a little something in. But yeah, as far as the strength side of it and all that, it is huge. I wanted to say too, like with racing, like we were talking, like you hit the ground, like, thinking about the pro guys, when we watch these guys on TV racing, and they take some gnarly spills, and indoors and outdoors, and we see them bounce back up, and that's not just because they've rode a ton of times, and like they've rode a bunch, so they're used to hitting the ground and they can bounce up. No, it's
Or because you're Jet Lawrence and you're like a cat.
yeah.
I don't know how he does that.
He just stays on his feet somehow. But no, it's the strength is what helps those guys, get back up off the ground and get right back on the bike, and not really get, end up with too many injuries, or no injury at all, even through a pretty crazy wreck. That's because those guys are strong. Their bodies can take the abuse. They're ready for it.
And I think I've seen that in action for both of us personally, for sure.
Oh yeah, and I can tell, like, the more I work through everything, and the more I get built up, the more my body can handle the abuse on the weekends. Like, before, we used to go racing, and by the end of the day, and got done, we were loading up and stuff, driving home, I'd be smoked, usually getting leg cramps or something. And now, like, we've worked through so much stuff. You've helped me work through so much stuff. Like, now we leave the tracks and we're on our way home, and I feel good. I'm like almost ready to go, do something else, because the day of racing's over with, and I still feel really good. So
Yeah.
I'm not, I still get a little sore and stuff. Like, I mean, that's hard to get rid of, but
Yeah, you're not
I'm not getting like,
entirely.
no, I'm not getting that hardcore, like, 2-day effect though, like where I'm just slammed, like not gonna do anything. So that's nice.
Yeah, and you brought up really good points about what I tried to explain to people. Like, a lot of times people will reach out to me because they have this problem, or they want to improve this area, or work on this, or whatever. But realistically, when we're working through the fitness, the nutrition, the mobility, the recovery, all of these things, it's not only going to benefit you in one area. It helps with injury prevention. It helps with pain management. It helps improve your endurance when you're riding. It helps with the recovery side of things. It helps in your daily life, just having good energy. So, like, while most people focus on the fact that, I want to do better in my races, I want to increase my endurance. Okay, that's great. We will do that. But you're also going to have all of these other added benefits that you don't realize are also going to help your riding, but they are. So it's like, people are like, yeah, that's cool. Like, sure, Ashlee, I hear what you're saying, but I want to ride better. Cool. Okay, well, we get a month or two in, and people are like, oh my God, this is life changing. And that's what I always try to explain to people. It's not just a program that, like, yeah, you start, you stop, cool, you got some benefit from it. It's a life changing experience, so much so that I try to help people turn this into a lifestyle change, something that I want people to do forever, because that's my intention for what you and I do. This is something we will do for the rest of our lives.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, especially how good it makes me feel. Even with the struggle days, I still don't see myself ever stopping doing it, just because a lot of the pain that I used to wake up with, I don't wake up with those pains now. I still wake up with some pain, like, that's inevitable.
You can't count me as your pain. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's no.
Not the one you were talking about.
No, I wasn't referring to that.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't wake up with the pain and all that. I mean, like I said, there's still some there, but yeah, I definitely won't be stopping doing it anytime soon.
And I mean, I know you're my husband, so I might be a little bit biased, but there's something to be said about you being 35 years old and still riding the way that you do.
Yeah. Um, Sometimes it amazes me that I'm 35 and still riding the way I do.
A big piece of it is the training that we put in, the work that we put in off the bike. If you want to ride and race into your later years and be competitive and enjoy the sport still, it is so important to take care of yourself outside of it as well.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if you wanna if you wanna do good on the weekends, you gotta change your lifestyle during the weeks too.
Yeah.
That goes with anything. If you wanna perform good on the weekends, you gotta more or less perform good all week too, leading up to it. That way you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I just enjoy living a healthy lifestyle. It's just like I just like feeling good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, so. But anyways, we're at about an hour for this one, so we won't keep chattering people's ears off, but I'm sure we'll have another one soon. Nothing much going on for us this weekend. We might ride indoors, right?
Yeah, probably do a little riding, but mostly low key. And
You'll
yeah,
probably play some golf.
yeah, as long as the weather's been nice. So yeah, for all my golf people, I've been getting out. Had a few days outside so far, so that's been a win.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. It looks like we got a few other nice days ahead of us, possibly. So looking forward to that. But yeah, other than that, probably be a pretty low key weekend, and then we got the next summit round coming up in a few weeks here, and then we'll be looking forward to Daytona after that.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for Daytona. I need some good warm sunshine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Just get out of Ohio for a little bit, see some little sightseeing on a road trip down there, and see some people from Florida that we haven't seen in a while, and yeah, bathe in the sunshine.
Right? Ride dirt bikes.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to episode 3. If you have feedback, good, bad, and different, let us know. Always going to try to improve here. Or if there's something you're interested in that you'd love to hear us talk about, let us know. Or if you have questions, let us know that too.
Yeah, let us know, guys. Thanks for listening.